Now, I got to ask, in 3 days, former Secretary of State Clinton's memoir comes out. I haven't seen it yet. Have you had a chance to read it or see it yet?
No, I have not. I'm waiting for it.
Do you think in the index we will find Rohingya?
My hunch is probably no. We'll probably see mention of Burma as a success, and I think there is something to that. I think that becomes, especially this year, so much harder. What made things worse this year is that they've been treated badly for years and for decades. But then in February and March, the humanitarian doctors who've been providing medical care, were kicked out, were barred from the camps. And other aid groups, Western aid groups, had their offices attacked in coordinated camps, which led aid workers to flee the country. So we had an awful situation that in the last couple of months has gotten just dramatically worse. And I would bet we will not see Rohingya in the index.
And will that be a moral failing on her part?
I think at the time that she was in office, when she was dealing with it, I guess I would have liked to see it mentioned. I just think it's much more urgent now than it was then.
And I don't want to excuse the Bushies either. I followed Bush foreign policy as closely as anybody, and I didn't. Was it a problem then as well, or were we just trying to pry the door open then on the country?
It was less of a problem then. It's periodically been a problem over the last 30 years or so, but the last period where it really got worse was 2012. You had mobs attacking the Rohingya, and then that's when they were locked into these camps. And so it deteriorated in 2012, and then just in the last few months, it's deteriorated very badly with all access to health care being cut off.
Has Secretary Kerry stood up and said anything?
Not nearly enough. The U.S. has done a little bit better than European countries, which have been awful. But most of the U.S. comments have been from the State Department spokesman or from the embassy, and they've been, in my view, far too restrained and far too polite. I think that it's time, when this kind of thing is happening, I think President Obama needs to speak up, Secretary Kerry, especially because, as you say, they do claim it as a foreign policy success. And if you're going to claim the success side of the ledger, then you've got to own that and push for an end to these kinds of just unbelievable atrocities.
Last question, 30 seconds. How did you get into these camps?
Well, the astonishing thing is that as a result of the democratization, they gave me a journalist visa. And, one of the lessons of history is that if you're going to be brutally repressing people, then you shouldn't be giving journalist visas. And they made that mistake. They probably won't let me back and make that mistake twice. But they don't let aid workers in. They did let me in to document it, and we'll be running a video about it in the coming days as well.